Hey all, Shug Monkey here. For those of you seeing me for the first time, which is probably most of you, I'm an old head Monster Hunter player who started in the old gens. And I'm doing my best Jimothy Cool impression right now, but it's terrible. Anyway, I play exclusively solo these days, but I do browse Reddit, and I have noticed some trends in people who have trouble. I see a lot of Reddit complaints about three monsters in particular: Uthduna, Mizitsune, and Gormagala. And I was baffled by this, because to me they were pretty easy. So I looked at YouTube to see if I could figure out what the problem was. Now, I will admit, I thought they were bad and being carried online, since that happens. But it turns out that was my bias as a soloist talking. The actual thing is that they are mostly playing in this very reactive, impatient style. It's the same noob trap every Monster Hunter game has always had. This ain't new. This video here by Gaijin Hunters from almost 10 years ago and touches on the same thing and how to mitigate it. But in Monster Hunter Wilds, the problem is worse than ever. Part of this is the advertising. Now that we have cool stuff like power clashes and offset, so it's very tempting to try to focus on using these punchy mechanics to make you feel all strong and powerful. But more than that, I blame Arkveld. Arkveld was the entire endgame for a lot of the first part of Wilds, and the guy has trained everyone all wrong. He's very hard to dodge and makes positioning a massive chore, but he's also ridiculously easy to offset, counter, and perfect guard due to the same generous hitbox sizes and durations that make regular dodging hard. So if you're a new player, he pretty much teaches you positioning is for chumps, and you should just instead stand there, menacingly like a SpongeBob
He's just
character.
standing there, menacingly!
But now, remember those three monsters from before? Uthduna, Mizitsune, and Gormagala? These are monsters with body blow attacks that have relatively short hitbox durations, and they can often cover a lot of ground without any hitbox at all. And to top it all off, they also have a wide range of hitbox sizes. So the timing on perfect guards, offsets, counters, and all that make it way harder to just Sekiro your way through the fight. But because of the training, or really anti-training, given to them at the hands of Arkveld, players are completely unprepared for monsters whose job it is to force you to move. And this goes double for big, high-commitment weapons like Hammer, where the ability to land big attacks by good positioning was just never learned. Like, look at this footage here. I actually bait Mizitsune into dropping his second body slam, then move and immediately ready Mighty Charge for when he hits the ground. That's something I only know how to do because I played lots of prior titles like 4U, and really I only perfected it as recently as Sunbreak, at least in the context of new games. In the context of Wilds, thanks to Arkveld, players are even further behind the curve in figuring out that you can do things like that. But and now I am speaking mainly of Hammer here, but it applies just as much to Greatsword. I'm not familiar with it the way I am with Hammer, but crit draw is still a thing, and you can really become very mobile, even with this clunky, slow weapon. I do also want to note that most of the meta sets on the internet are seemingly made more with math than experience, and they are not well suited for preemptive positioning-focused style of play. And I think that makes the overreaction pigeonhole that these players are going to even deeper. Things like evade, extender, and HD earplugs, which really allow the perfection of this kind of gameplay, are just strangely absent from the sets that I can find online. And I think I do have an inkling about why, since taking effort to position uses stamina, and that means you can't randomly throw maximum might into every build and call it macaroni. That's why I'm not using maximum might in this footage here. Now, the damage loss from giving up maximum might is pretty significant for some weapons, but things like Hammer, compared to something like Agitator, it's 3% difference tops. And as a final note, I do consider checking out the Gaijin Hunter video, shown again here on the screen. It's a bit outdated in which weapons do what, since it's from the era of old generations, where the only counter weapon was Charge Blade, and the closest thing to a power clash you had was just playing Valor style. But the principles hold up really well, and have stood the test of time. Anyway, that's all. Thanks.